right, I call to order this regular meeting of the Board of Public Works this Tuesday, August 16th of 2022. First up, we have messages from board members. Do we have any messages from the board this evening?
Not tonight.
I would just offer that, as we all know, this is a super busy time in Bloomington with everyone arriving back in town, students getting settled, new faculty members and staff members joining the community, and just appreciate everyone's patience for those of us who are here all year round. I know that it can be a challenging time for us as well, so just exerting as much patience as you can during this time is really appreciated. I also have noticed, not surprisingly, that we're having some issues with scooter parking. I've encountered several scooters in unacceptable places. So I know that probably the scooter riders and the scooter companies are not listening right now to this meeting, but I'm hoping to see some dramatic improvement by the time we get to September, once students become more aware of the appropriate parking and other newcomers and visitors might get more adjusted to the ways that we need to be maintaining those so that we all have access to the sidewalks. Next up is petitions and remonstrances. If we have anyone who would like to make a public comment about something that is not on our agenda this evening, now is the opportunity to do so. If we have anyone on Zoom who wishes to make a public comment, you're welcome to use the raised hand function or put a comment in the chat, and we will make sure that that is recognized. And anyone here in person is welcome to approach the podium as like.
I see none on Zoom.
Seeing none. We don't have anything under Title VI enforcement this evening. Next, we have the consent agenda. Under the consent agenda, we have approval of minutes for August 2nd of 2022, Resolution 2022-60, declaration of surplus property from ITS, add previously accepted city-maintained street to city inventory, public improvements bond estimate for 1503 West Arlington Road, secondary plat, Resolution 2022-61, Blooming Foods annual membership meeting, noise permit and road closure request for the Robert Chandler Hamilton Memorial, Resolution 2022-62, Blue Ridge Neighborhood Picnic, Resolution 2022-63, Paint the Town Purple, and approval of payroll. Do we have any items that need to be removed from the consent agenda this evening? Seeing none. Do we have any public comment on anything within the consent agenda? Again, on raised hand or on Zoom, you can use raised hand or chat. Do you have any comments?
No comment on Zoom.
Seeing none. Is there a motion on the consent agenda?
I move that we approve tonight's consent agenda.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 Motion passes. Next up is new business. First under new business is Resolution 2022-64, new mobile solicitor, Republic National Distributing Company, RNDC.
Hello, I'm Susan Coates, and I am here to present the Republic National Distributing Company by Tiffany Walker. She has applied for a solicitor's license for distributing T-shirts, keychains, and other types of promotional swag that will have emblems on them as promotional information for the distribution companies. And they are Jameson and Absolute, which is alcoholic beverages. But they're going to also have like pens, toothbrushes, keychains, T-shirts, things like that. They're going to be on these different swag, as she calls them. So we have 2 locations that they want to park trucks that were part of the application, and both have been approved by Public Works, and everything else seems to be okay and in line, and we would recommend them for this this license. Any questions?
Yeah, I'm looking at the application. I see that the resolution's been updated. I think their original application was for 3 days in 3 locations, the 17th, 18th, and 19th. And now they're looking for just Thursday the 18th and Friday the 19th.
Yes.
And the 2 locations that were in their original application, or the 4 locations for those 2 days, those are the ones that they're going to use,
Yes, the
correct?
first one on Wednesday is not going to be used because of
Okay.
the location.
Great.
But the other two were approved by the Public
Okay.
Works.
Thank you.
Any
Other
other
questions
questions?
on this item? Any public comment on this item?
I see no comment.
Seeing none, is there a motion?
I move that we approve, sorry, let me get my glasses on, Resolution 2022-64, new mobile solicitor license for Republic National Distributing Company, or RNDC.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes.
Thank you.
Thanks. Next, we have right-of-way use request from Rubicon Construction for placement of dumpster on West 4th between South College Avenue and South Walnut Street, August 17th, 2022 through October 31st, 2022.
Good evening, Andrew Seabor with the City Engineering Department. I'm filling in for Paul, so I will do my best. Rubicon Construction is completing work on the John Waldron Arts Center and is requesting 2 on-street parking spaces on the north side of 4th Street for a dumpster from August 17th to October 31st. A special note that the dumpster will be removed to accommodate the space needs of 2 previously approved special events, the Lotus Festival and the Block Rocker. And I'm happy to answer any questions you have.
Thank you. Questions from the board?
I have no questions, but I just want to note that I need to recuse myself from discussion and vote.
Thanks.
I do not have any questions.
Are there any public comments on this item? Again, on Zoom, you're welcome to use raised hand function or type something in the chat.
I see none.
All right, seeing none, is there a motion on this item?
I move that we approve the right-of-way use request from Rubicon Construction for placement of a dumpster on West 4th between South College Avenue and South Walnut Street from August 17th, 2022 to October 31, 2022.
And I second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes 2 to 1 recusal. Next up, we have lane and sidewalk closure request from Everstream Solutions along South Rogers, West Paterson, and South Walnut.
All right, thank you. So Everstream has plans to complete 3 separate fiber projects in the city. Each of these will require lane and sidewalk closures within the right-of-way. We expect the closures will be relatively short at each location as they move through the project. And so this is one agenda item, but really reflecting 3 separate permit applications. The first one in the report is on, essentially it goes up South Rogers from Switchyard Park up to Paterson and over on Paterson down on south on Walnut Street towards Bloomington South. Most of this work on that project will be underground boring to place new fiber, and some of the work will be overhead along South Walnut closer to Bloomington South. The work in that area is planned for September 9th to September 28th. Another project that Everstream is asking to do starts up on 11th Street and heads east on North Monroe Street, north to West Arlington Road, and then up to Prow Road. So essentially from the Tri-North area up to Bloomington North. This work is a mix of underground and overhead work. Is planned to start October 6th and run through October 24th. And the last one in the packet for this agenda item is along West Paterson. It's a smaller area near South Rogers Street in the area of Catalent. This work will be all underground and is planned to start August 17th and go to the 31st, so that's tomorrow. And I'm happy to answer any questions you have on this item.
Thanks. Questions from the board on this item?
I just want to reiterate something that President Cox-Deckard brought up yesterday during our work session, which is that first project is close to Bloomington High School South, and the second one obviously close to Tri-North Middle School, and just ensure that you all are working with MCCSE in case there are any transportation issues
Yeah, absolutely. With
Thanks.
these permits, especially those two you mentioned, we typically limit the permitted hours of work outside of school rush, and even the work on South Walnut, independent of the school, we try to avoid the rush hours as well. So that will definitely be a condition of the permit when we issue it. One other just quick note that I would mention is the work between Tri-North and Bloomington North crosses INDOT facilities, so they will need a separate permit for that work outside of our purview.
Okay. And it looks like on the application, the right-of-way use application, that they've indicated standard hours, and so basically you all have just sorted out, I mean, the start time probably doesn't interfere much with the start time of school, being that it's listed as 9 a.m., but, the 3 p.m. could be a factor. So I'm assuming they know that really they're not getting full standard closure hours, but that's going to be adjusted.
Yeah, that they've 9 to 3, it reflects some schools, but with high school and stuff, that'll be a condition on the actual permit that we issue.
Okay. All right. Any other questions on this item? Any public comment on this item? Again, on Zoom, you can use raised hand function or type in the chat.
I see no chats or raised hands.
Right. Seeing none, is there a motion on this item?
I move that we approve the lane and sidewalk closure request from Everstream Solutions along South Rogers, West Paterson, and South Walnut.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes. Next up, we have a lane closure request from Landmark Construction on East 14th Street, August 2022 through February 2023.
All right, thank you. Andrew again with engineering, and I guess I should have noted, I believe for each of these items, an applicant representative is attending either virtually or in person, and we have somebody in person for this item as well. But for this, so the standard is the development project south of 14th Street between Walnut and Dunn. This closure request is essentially to close the southern lane between Washington and Dunn Street and make 14th Street in that segment one-way westbound. So the eastbound would be detoured, and we would maintain on-street parking on the north side of the road. With that space, it's allowing for basically better containment of their construction site and making sure the loading and unloading activity just is outside of the public way. So for safety of public and the construction project. This closure is, request is from August 29th specifically to January 31st, 2023. So that's a detail to add from our staff report. I expect that after that January 31st timeframe, we'll be coming forward with additional things. That ultimately, the project will be reconstructing 14th Street, and so there will be some additional different changes that we'll be coordinating in the future. One last note that before this meeting, the development did host a public meeting and invited adjacent properties to it. City staff, myself, was in attendance. A couple property owners attended, and it's certainly my opinion that this proposal reflects and incorporates the feedback that we received from those properties. Happy to answer any questions.
All right. Thank you. Questions on this item?
Could you just repeat the dates that have been adjusted, please?
Sure. The closure would be from August 29th, 2022 to January 31st, 2023.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, I'm glad to hear you say that there was a meeting, because I did wonder, obviously the property owners, particularly those on the other side of 14th Street, have been sort of navigating this project for quite a while now, and this is, another installment of the process, and so, glad to hear that there's communication happening with that. Were there any concerns that you thought were unresolved at this point related to the project, or anything that's kind of ongoing?
Honestly, I mean, there's good coordination, I would say, with the city and the development team, and certainly the feedback that I heard at that neighborhood meeting. I believe this proposal addressed the comments and concerns we heard.
And one thing we did talk about in the work session was the fact that Bloomington Transit has relocated their stops to 15th Street. So this specific closure is not causing any adjustments or changes to their service.
Yeah, it shouldn't, especially the eastbound direction would require a sidewalk on the south side, and that sidewalk's been closed for some time because of the project. So this doesn't change what Bloomington Transit's been doing.
Are there any public comments on this item?
I do have a raised hand from Susan. And Susan, if you'd like to unmute yourself.
Okay, so yes, I have a couple of questions. I just wanted for clarification purposes. So from what I understand, the road is going to be open east and west up through past Washington. Is that correct? Because I haven't updated.
That is correct.
Wait.
Yes, that is correct. Yes.
Okay, because I didn't clear that. The other thing,
Yeah.
Okay.
And before
So-
we get too much further, if you could just state your full name, Susan,
sorry.
and then I'll also
Yeah,
have the
sorry.
other representatives state their full name, just so we get that in the record.
Okay, sure. Susan Goldsworthy, and we're at the property at 940 North Walnut Street on the corner of 14th and Walnut Street.
Okay, thank you.
And I'm Eric Schulte. I'm the project manager with Landmark Construction. So,
Okay, so for clarification purposes, the way I understood it is that we'll be able to go east and west still up through to be able to access Washington Street, right?
that is correct. The concern you brought to the meeting the other night was addressed, yes.
Okay, and then because at the bottom, the label still was showing that it was one-way west only, so that's why I was asking about that.
Okay,
And then-
sorry. Yep.
Okay, and then a couple other questions that we had concerns about, because I couldn't quite tell on the map, and I haven't talked to Bill today or anything, or after he talked to you, I guess, is North Dunn and 13th Street, is that going to remain open both directions as well?
Was that North, what'd you say? Yes, North Dunn and, what was the other street you said?
Any 13th Street, I don't know if I can show them, well,
Yeah, I mean, basically, yeah, whatever the questions you send to Bill, yes, that is correct. They'll be going both directions. I'm sorry, my kids are jumping in line.
Right. Well, I'm wondering on the North Dunn Street, that North Dunn will remain open both directions and East 13th Street the whole time. Is that right?
Yes, that is correct. Yeah, we will not be shutting down Dunn or 13th Street. That is correct. Yeah.
Okay. All right, thanks.
All right. Any other public comment on this item?
I see none.
Is there a motion?
I move that we approve the lane closure request from Landmark Construction on East 14th Street for the adjusted dates of August 29th, 2022 through January 31, 2023.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes. Next up, we have lane closure request from Reed & Sons on West Fountain Drive, and this is August 17th, 2022 through October 14th, 2022.
All right, Andrew Seabor from Engineering again. So this is a request that I believe the board previously approved, but the project was delayed, and now they're looking to establish the new schedule. So this is a CBU project, and Reed & Sons is the contractor and applicant. It's essentially a closure along West Fountain Drive, west of Crescent. The work is now planned August 17th to October 14th. And staff has reviewed the maintenance of traffic plans, and Reed & Sons has notified adjacent residents of the upcoming projects. And I'm happy to answer any questions you have.
Questions on this item?
No.
Any public comment on this item?
I see none on Zoom.
All right. Is there a motion?
I move that we approve the lane closure request from Reed & Sons on West Fountain Drive from August 17th, 2022 to October 14, 2022.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion passes. Thanks. Next up is Addendum number 1 to contract with Ankris for sanitation bathroom remodel.
I forgot I had to present this.
You can take some time to get the report up if you need it.
April Rosenberger, Department of Public Works. This is the addendum to the contract for the sanitation garage bathroom remodel. And this is just adding a few things that they found as they were remodeling that they needed to add. Their total additional cost would be $1,468.06, and that's with a couple of credits that they also had.
Any questions on this item?
I need to recuse myself from discussion and vote on this item.
Thank you. Are there any public comments on this item?
No comments on Zoom.
All right. Is there a motion?
That we approve addendum number 1 to the contract with Ankris for sanitation bathroom remodel.
And I second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes 2-1 with 1 recusal. And next up, we have staff reports and other business.
Thanks, Kyla. You actually mentioned what I was going to say, just to remind everyone that it's a really busy time and to be as patient as possible with all of the extra crowded areas and slow-moving traffic. It's not going to be this way forever, so just bear with everybody.
All right. Next up is approval of claims. Were there any questions on claims? Any public comment on claims?
There is no public left.
Oh, no. Well, claims will do that to you. All right. Well, with no comment, is there a motion on the claims?
I move that we approve claims in the amount of $1,635,406.30.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes. If there's nothing else for this evening, I will call for adjournment.
Thank you.